Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly tarot card reading. Now for this week's reading, I'm going to be reading with the Ember and Aura Tarot by Jamie Richardson. And I'm hoping, my intention with this reading is that it will give us a nice overview of the upcoming week, and that it will give us some fresh ideas and insights and inspiration for the week ahead. I want to encourage you, before I get into the reading, to check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com. There's all kinds of fun tarot learning resources on there. And if you enjoy this video, you might want to subscribe because I post these videos every week. All right, so let's begin with the first card. This card represents Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week. And this is so bizarre that Five of Cups is showing up here because I just did this reading like 2 minutes ago and I scrapped it because something happened and I can't remember what. So I reshuffled and this exact same card was in this exact same position when I did the reading the first time, which is super creepy. Okay, so so its message is even stronger. All right, so the Five of Cups is it's essentially a card of dwelling on one's sorrows and dwelling on the things that upset you or the things in your past that maybe really didn't work out. It's really a card of the past more than anything. So this card can represent sort of going back over past disappointments and heartache and you know, bad feelings that you've had and kind of dredging them up and really fixating on them. It's like picking at a scab. And I noticed myself doing this actually a couple of days ago. I was just sitting there reading a book and all of a sudden I had this memory of something that upset me a few years ago and I started thinking about it. And then I started to really think about it. And then all those old feelings came up and it was like I was reliving it. And then I stopped myself and I thought, what am I doing? What's the point of this? So I think that there's a natural tendency to fixate on the things that aren't working so that we can, you know, fix things and get them working again. But there's a difference between doing that and really dwelling on something, just almost in a way of like torturing ourselves. So the message of this card is be kind to yourself. Be nice to yourself, be kind. Don't let yourself engage excessively in dwelling on past things that didn't go right. And I mean, if there's something that keeps coming up for you, then pay attention to that by all means. That's an indication that there's something that still needs to be healed, that still needs to be addressed. But just be aware of what you're fixated on this week. Are you fixated on things that make you feel upset? Are you fixated on things that give you energy, that make you happy? You know, just be aware of what your attention is fixed on throughout this week. And then as we get into the middle of the week, Wednesday and Thursday, we have the Three of Coins. And what I get from this card is this is a card of helping one another and working together. And okay, there's a few things that I get from this card. So one thing I feel that's really emphasized with this card is teamwork and being part of a team and everyone kind of pitching in and doing their own thing. And a real strong message I get with that is when you're working in a group, you really have to give others space to be themselves and to work within the zone of their own genius. So don't try to micromanage, don't try to be helpful by doing things for other people when really it's just micromanaging them and getting in their way. Sometimes we tell ourselves that we're being helpful, but really we're just getting in people's way. So that's something to take into consideration. The message I get from this card is that this week you will do well, you'll be more powerful, and you'll feel less stressed if you work with others. So don't try to do everything yourself this week. You know, don't try to do it all alone. You really want to work with others, connect with others, If you're struggling to do something, do you know someone who knows how to do this better than you? Can you ask for their help? This is all about working with others and connecting with others, and that seems to be a big theme this week. So let's move on to the end of the week. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. And here we have, I feel like my lighting isn't very good. Here, just bear with me. I'm just gonna, okay. So here we have the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is one of those cards that is, overwhelmingly negative in its imagery, but it's kind of comical in a way, because it's one of those cards, I think, that is so overly dramatic. It's like what happens when we really react to something and we make a big, huge deal out of something. And then the next day we wake up and we're like, oh my God, that's not even that big of a thing. Why did I get so wound up and riled? And that's the power of the mind, right? Now, this is a swords card, and the swords has to do with the mind and thoughts and the power of the mind and the way our minds operate. And really, I see the Ten of Swords as representing kind of the most negative aspect of our minds, the worst that our minds can do, which is, work us up into this lather, where, you have one negative thought, and then that kind of leads to another thought, and another, and another, and another, and before you know it, you're in full-blown, feeling totally defeated. And what's interesting is I feel like this card is so similar to the Five of Cups and what I said about the Five of Cups. Now, the Suit of Cups is about emotions and feelings. So while I see the Five of Cups as being like picking at an emotional scab and re-instigating negative feelings just because you can, right? The Ten of Swords is more about picking at a mental scab and reigniting anxious thoughts just because that is something that our minds tend to do sometimes. So really, I see this week as being about taking care of your mental health. Your mental and emotional well-being is really at the forefront this week. And the best way that we can do that, according to these cards, is through connections with others. It's about reaching out to others, whether you're reaching out to a counselor to talk about something, whether you're just reaching out to a friend. It could be about, lending an ear, or, being emotionally supportive of a friend or someone who's in your life as well. But it's about really enjoying those connections that you have with others. And I think that one way that we can take care of ourselves in a mental, emotional way is by making sure that we are socializing enough. I was listening to a podcast and they're saying, you need to have at least 2 social engagements per week with friends. And I know I don't always do that. Sometimes I just, do one, if that, sometimes. So I feel like the message this week is, really reach out to friends, make sure that you have social things to look forward to this week, make sure that you're getting out and seeing people. And I think that's something that's going to mitigate this tendency to kind of pick at those emotional and mental scabs. But I want to say a little bit more about the Ten of Swords. So the Ten of Swords can represent feeling defeated, and I feel that more than anything, this is a mindset rather than a reality. So this is about feeling discouraged by something and then really kind of letting those negative thoughts run rampant until you just really feel defeated. And so the Ten of Swords encourages you to not believe your thoughts so much. And I know that's hard. But it's really saying, you're not doing yourself any favors if you think that your thoughts are the last word. So if your thoughts are hopeless right now, consider what I just said about not necessarily don't necessarily believe your thoughts, because they aren't always an accurate reflection of reality. So question your thoughts a little bit. I feel like there's more I want to say here, so just give me one sec. And while I'm looking for something to talk about, I want to invite you to look at these cards as well and share with me what you notice. Is there a particular card that stands out to you? You know, would you have interpreted these cards a little bit differently? You know, what, add your 2 cents if you feel called to. I feel like there may be opportunities this week to release old emotional drama that we've been holding on to and to really let it go once and for all. And I think that there's also going to be an opportunity to do some inner work on our thoughts and our tendency to sometimes believe our thoughts. But ultimately this week, I think the theme, apart from, taking care of your mental and emotional well-being, is about connecting with others. So I don't want you to look at these cards and think, oh, this was a really negative reading, or, it's going to be a really shitty week. Like, no, it's not going to be a shitty week, especially if you are able to reach out to others and line up some social interactions, line up some social events. I feel like I'm talking to everyone as if everyone's like this total hermit like me. And social events are not that plentiful in your life. You may be a social butterfly, and that's awesome. But this is really about establishing connections and friendships. And if you feel like you don't have enough friends, and I kind of feel like that at the moment, that I want more friends, more social things in my life. See what can you do about that? Where can you meet more people? Where can you have those kinds of interactions? Okay, so this has been your reading for this week. I hope you found this reading helpful. And again, if you want to check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com, I'm going to put a link in the notes below this video. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week, and thank you for watching.